Chevyrell here. As promised, well, I didn't really promise, but as I said, may or may not happen, we're going to do a tour of the stuff room. I'm not going to obviously touch on everything because, let's face it, I've got a lot of stuff. So, I figured I'd just start off, and I have a cameraman behind the scenes, who you'll probably see in the mirror at some point. Okay. This is a stained glass piece that I did. It's the one and only stained glass piece that I've ever done. I took a class. I thought it'd be cool. It was fun to do once. I have a little Caruth piece here, which is my hedgehog. It's my hedgehog. My hedgehog. Caruth is actually an artist that is based out of Waterville, Ohio. He has a studio. You can do tours there. Everybody in the area knows him. I just have my little place where I sit. This is just kind of all a catch-all. I did not clean this room before I showed all y'all this. That is some family member of mine that I found in my Grandma-Nada's stuff. I have no idea who it is, but of course I had to hang it in the stuff room, right? This was painted by Dan when he was like, what were you, 11, 12?
Sure.
13, somewhere in there-ish. Def Leppard, that is straight up from the like 80s. That was a whole pop the balloon with the dart at the county fair thing and win the mirror. We have Alan the Alien. A friend named him, Alan. Macy, I've talked about her before. This is a rug hooking that Mama Jean did for me. This is my winding station. This is my stash. I have one tote of not good yarn, like acrylic ribbon type not great yarn in my craft room, as well as my tote of fiber, my spinning fiber, mainly because I don't want that to get like dusty. But this is my stash, so I don't have like a wall of yarn, maybe someday. But what you see is what I've got. This is a hook thing that Dan built for me. I kind of had the idea and Dan made it happen, which is how all of my things not knitting related kind of work out. I hang my project bags off of it. They move around. This is an art piece that my best friend made me. That's just kind of where it ended up. This is a end table. I don't know.
Foam
that
table.
I got. Huh?
Foam table.
Oh, it's a phone table, Dan says. That I purchased off Craigslist, and I messed it all up with some chalk paint and scuffed it up, and here it sits. Where I burn my incense, as you can see, there's ashes all over the place. I have my little basket of Hexie Puffs. It's a little fish that her name's Annie, according to the artist, which this artist is on
what's it called?
Pine Island. Pine Island. My grandparents lived in Fort Myers, and Pine Island's near there. And it's like this little artsy island off the coast of Florida. And this artist has a bunch of stuff, which her art pieces are amazing, but they are like uber duper expensive, and all I could afford was Annie the fish. But I look at her, she lives in a sea of Hexie Puffs. I have a little thing that I just tuck notions in, my trindles in there. It's basically a catch-all for any stray needle or something that happens. I have my little teacup that did not have a matching saucer, and that's where I put all my little snips from my winding station. Of course, you've all seen that from my first episode. It's not hoarding if your shit's cool. That was one of those paint board number party wine things that all the cool kids are doing nowadays, which of course I had to put profanity in mine because it's me. I got this from an antique shop. I got this from an antique shop. I completely forgot to tell you about this chair. This is a big deal. This chair is over 100 years old. We dug it down from the attic at my grandparents' farmhouse, and it had been reupholstered back in the day with terry cloth towel, like bath towel, and it was stuffed full of an old rotted quilt. The thing that I think is awesome about this chair is it had been repaired multiple times. It's a true testament to back when they fixed stuff instead of threw it away and bought new. I'm lucky enough that my mom's boyfriend reupholsters. So he taught me how to do it. He actually stripped it and stained it for me, which is a whole nother story I won't tell you about. It was like a summer 100-degree debacle that ended in me bawling, and he was just like, give it here, I'll do it. But he did teach me how to reupholster it, so I kind of did most of it. He just got me started. These are my Folly Girls. I don't know if anybody knows what Folly Girls are, but they kind of, I don't know, burlesque dancers back in the day. I don't know. Google it. It's like Folly Girls. I want to say they're in the 20s, but I love them. My naked chicks. My house is not child friendly for multiple reasons. This is just, Dan made this frame goofing around, and I had this card and I just made that. It's not really anything. My little sheep you guys have seen before that Dan made. These shelves are just kind of filled with things. This is my best friend, whom I don't know if you haven't got to meet Clint yet. You will. This is our first day of preschool and our graduation day. So our moms were actually pregnant together. We're 20 days apart. He's older. Who remembers these? The youngins will not have any idea what these are. This one's my shoe. This goes to show you how much times change. This is mine from 1980, and this is my brother's from 84. I had those dumb white walkers that like everybody had back in the day. My brother got Nike high tops. This is a total okay, I love all things creepy. I love all things off the wall. This is kind of the same thing. My grandma Nada gave this to me. It's paper clips with little plastic beads. I mean, look at that creepy little doll head.
Safety pins?
What'd I say? Paper clips. Yes, safety pins. Dan's always got my back. But yeah, I mean, she had to be in the stuff room, right? Like, what perfect thing for the stuff room. This is also a Grandma Nada. Who knows how old it is. My bead spinner, that stuff I got from an antique shop. These frogs, my band teacher in high school actually gave me. His mom had them, and when she passed away, he said that he wanted somebody who would appreciate them to have them. When I was in high school, I had a thing for frogs, so those will kind of always hold a special place in my heart. My cross stitch, y'all know, I'm in love with Labyrinth. This, I don't know how many of you have ever seen these, but it's a calendar from 1974, and it has an owl on it. Like, how awesome is that? That was my Grandma Peg's. I got this print off Etsy. A friend gave me this chair. I absolutely love it. I'm not so sure you could find fabric that cool again if you tried. This is a very cool piece. Again, Grandma Nada. It says to Nada from John Glenn. He was actually, it's from the Henry, and my grandma made this little scrapbooky goodness. But it's October 30th, 1973, and he was a guest speaker at the Henry County Democratic Party. I got this from an antique shop. This is an actual magazine from 1927, and I just put it in a frame because I thought it was cool. But if any of you ever can find a needlecraft magazine, they are super fun to look at. This is a hand embroidered tea towel that a friend got me as a gift. My makeshift table, this is actually underneath. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little green foam planter. And then Dan had this clock when we first started dating and it broke and it lived in our basement forever. And I wanted him to throw it away and throw it away and throw it away, and he would never get rid of it. And then I made this concoction. I'm super glad that he didn't. Basket of hand spun, my Himalayan salt lamp that, well, actually it's Dan's. It's supposed to do something good for you. I don't know. I will tell you, if any of y'all have one of these, this entire top is covered in salt. Like, it does do something weird. I have to clean this off all the time. I have my little shippies that Mama Jean made for me. Isn't he cute with his little knot tail? He lives in a dish of Hexies. I got this chair at a secondhand shop. This xylophone is also dear to my heart. We got this when I was very little. Grandma bought it for us at a garage sale, and we played and played and played and played with it. This shelf is my Crochet Squares. That's where they live whenever I make a new one. This is my Grandma Peg made cloves, and it's Crewel, Crewel, which is different than embroidery. I'm not sure how, but it is. This is my fat little dad when he was a baby. Random hand spun. A friend needle felted me that. This table, which you can't really see, here's my Chasing Acorns coaster, which you guys saw. A friend got me this for my birthday. Got a little mushroom at like Goodwill or something. I have some Hexie Puffs. Here's Grandma Nada and my Grandpa Russell. My teacups, if Dan will pan up to the shelves. Dan made me the shelves. All these teacups are broken and have been glued back together because Grandma Nada, who lived through the Depression, was one of those that you glue it if it's broken. See the chair that's been fixed multiple times. All the ones on this shelf are intact, but they're all Grandma Nada's. And then there were some that, the ones you see around that are by themselves, they either didn't have saucers or something like that. Like this one doesn't match the saucer. I just, makeshift. I forgot to mention regarding my grandma's teacup collection. What started it is my great grandma Addie, Grandma Nada's mom, purchased her a teacup for her 16th birthday. And my grandma just continued for many, many years after to collect teacups. When I was a little girl, Grandma Nada actually pointed out to me which teacup it was that started the collection. And unfortunately, my 8-year-old self did not register that information, so I don't know which one it is. My Grandma Nada's measuring cups. Some of you may have had these or seen these before. That's what measuring cups looked like back in the day before they were plastic. This is an old train trunk that I purchased at a secondhand shop. If all this...
Steamer trunk.
Sorry, steamer trunk. What'd I say? Train trunk. Okay. It goes on a train when you're vacationing, but I guess it's called a steamer trunk, according to Dan. So, if all this crap wasn't on it, I could open it and show you that Dan actually lined it in cedar for me. And it has some blankets in there that have been in there so long I can't remember what they are. So maybe someday we should. This box Dan had, but I love it. And it's actually serving a purpose. Our very large, ugly computer router is in there. This is basket, all hand spun. This is a bird cage with the little birdie on it that came from Dan's grandma, and I just kind of course, shove yarn in it because that's what I basically do with everything, shove yarn in it. This lamp is also from a friend. It was his mom's.
Same one that gave you the chair.
The same one that gave me the chair with the cool, like, paisley looking print stuff. Well, I guess there aren't any paisleys on it. Whatever, the cool printed chair came from the same people. He said that these were in his mom's house the entire time that he was growing up, and no one in his family wanted them, and he knew that, you know, they'd be safe. So I actually have a matching one out in the garage, but I didn't really have any room for it, so we're just displaying the one for now. The head of the whatchamadingy moose, yeah. Friend gave me, Clinty, my bestie, gave me that, and he holds some antique sock blockers. A friend gave me these antique sock blockers. I think she found them at an auction or something, but socks hang there. This is just an old curtain that I threaded a ribbon through for art. I've had it forever. I don't know, nothing special. This chair, I got it at a thrift shop. I love it. Basically, I love anything that's ugly because it's not ugly to me. Dan's raising his hand. You're not ugly, honey. You're super cute. One thing I did not...
that chair.
Huh?
So is that chair.
You think the chair's super cute? One thing I did not talk about over here that I had forgotten is this table, if Dan can pan down to the feet or whatnot. This table was actually in the attic and found at the same time or a little before the rocking chair was. It's from the late 1800s. I was able to find it online. It has been refinished. Unfortunately, there was an individual within the family that found it and attempted to refinish it, but didn't know what they were doing. And it had to be refinished. It's beautiful. It's a family heirloom. I'd never sell it anyway, so it's not like I'm taking it to Antique Roadshow or anything, but I love it. Again, a Gramenata piece. I didn't talk about this either. This is my Lazy Kate that Dan made me. I use it all the time. I also didn't talk about this. This is another Caruth piece, like the hedgehog, and this guy over here is another Caruth piece. This, I'm not sure about the other two pieces, but this one is retired. I don't think you can get that anymore. It's one of those things. Here's my Bitter Buffalo ornament. I didn't touch base on that. I talked about that before in some of my older episodes, or in one of my older episodes. I guess you can kind of see, it's not technically in the stuff room, but Dan made me the frame for the jellyfish picture, which is actually just a shower curtain. So it looks like this really big, like, piece of art, but it's really just a rad ass shower curtain I got off Amazon. So, you know, you can take normal everyday stuff and make it cool. At least I think it's cool. Some of y'all might not think it's cool, but I like it. And this is a wind chime that a friend got me when my grandma Peg passed, who's my mom's mom. And every once in a while it dings and there's no wind, so I always kind of feel like it's Grandma Peg saying, hey. I think that's it. I don't see anything else that's really sticking out. If you guys see anything in the video that I didn't touch upon, let me know. I am actually going to try and record an episode after this. It's the plan. We'll see what happens. It will not be edited probably until next week. So I thought I'd try and get this little video around so that you guys at least had something to see. So that's the stuff room. If any of y'all ever wondered when I was recording what was going on in the background, now you know. If you saw something that I didn't talk about and you want to know, let me know. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. and we'll see you next time.